Okay, let's have an introduction to our trainers. So these are our electric relay control system trainers that we'll be using. You'll be using a virtual version of these trainers, and you will be using the real thing to troubleshoot faults. Let's quickly go over our trainer. This will be exactly the same setup as your virtual trainer that you will be using in the Amatrol e-learning. First of all, let's notice that we have our main power switch. This turns the power on and off. This system uses 24 volt DC, so we do not have to worry about arc flash protection or electrical shock. It also, if we accidentally hook up something wrong, it will trip the breaker without blowing a fuse. And so if we do hook up something wrong, this breaker will trip off and you will have to figure out the fault and rewire it and then reset it. Okay, quickly, let's look along the left side rail, which will be our positive 24 volts. Our ground will be along the right side rail. Okay, and so this diagram is going to be just like the ladder logic you've been learning that will help you learn a new language, basically the language of wiring. So let's first look at our meter and let's turn it to voltage. We're going to turn our meter to DC voltage, and I'm going to check the DC voltage on our unit. So very quickly, we're going to zoom in just a little bit. We're going to turn our meter to voltage. We're going to have to turn it to 200 because I told you we had a 24 volt system. So I'll turn this to 200 volts DC. And I'm going to use my meter, with the red being the positive, to check from L1 to L2. And I should be reading 24 volts DC. Okay, so you're going to be troubleshooting faults on this system, so it's very important to learn how to use your meter on this system. Let's look at another way to test. We can test continuity of a switch. We can determine if a switch is working correctly. We can put our meter on ohms. This one has a diode check, so it should make a buzzing sound whenever we have continuity. We're going to touch it, hear the beep. And so we'll come over here and we'll check a switch. Here we'll be checking the normally open switch, and I'll insert my clips into here. Alright, notice nothing happens because it's normally open. When I push the button, I should be reading continuity. Here we have a normally closed switch. It always has continuity until I push the button. Our dashed lines mean they are mechanically connected. Along with that, I can turn my ohms up to, we're just going to have to say maybe 2K. And we can ohm the coils on some of these solenoids. We'll see that this one has 330 ohms of resistance. We'll see that M1 coil has 70 ohms of resistance. We'll see what the resistance is of this light. Well, that's an LED that we may not get much on that. But we can see what this control relay is. We can read the resistance. That's another way we can check. Now, as far as hooking up a circuit, we will be using these quick connects. Alright, notice that they have another slot, so they will interchange. If I need to make multiple connections, I can simply connect them together. So for example, let's say I wanted to do an AND circuit, which will be your first assignment would be to troubleshoot a AND. So let's start with power to the first push button. And we'll come from here to the next push button. And we will come off of this one to our red light. And then we will tie the other side of the red light to ground. And so now I have an AND circuit, so one push button and two push button will activate the red light. Not this one, not that one, but 1 and 2 will activate the red light. And so that will be your first circuit. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint while you do this. You can interchange your meter leads with one of your test leads from your kit. We do have some red and black leads in your kit. You can interchange them. And let's say that I wanted to check the power at certain points in this circuit. Well, I could take my common and simply tie it in here. I could put it on 24 volts or 200 volt setting. I can use my other lead here if I want to, and I can test any part of this circuit. Now I'm reading 24 volts. So I can interchange my test leads with my banana jack connectors on this system.